hey, ain't jack shit I want to see in the theater right now. So I decided to catch up on a movie that I never got around to seeing, and I decided to watch Climax. So let's talk about it. Climax was written and directed by French filmmaker Gaspar Noé and stars Sofia Boutella along with a bunch of other actors with names I am too American to pronounce. And essentially, Climax follows a dance troupe who are having a rehearsal in this abandoned school, and I guess they're gonna go on tour or something, and suddenly, during this party, they're having an after party, and during this party, everyone starts to feel really fucking weird. And they learn soon that someone spiked the sangria that everyone's been drinking. And they all start tripping on acid. And it's fucking horrifying. When this movie started, I was really excited to review it. And then I hit the halfway point, and I suddenly didn't know how I was going to review this movie. I don't think I was mentally prepared to watch this. I didn't expect this movie to go where it does. And I'm still trying to process everything I fucking saw literally less than a day ago. So this movie has a very big cast. And it's filled with a bunch of people that I don't think are all actual actors. I think a lot of them are like actual like professional dancers. And I also don't speak French, which most of the movie is in. But from what I can tell, everyone's really good in this movie. Especially in the second half of the movie when they all have to start tripping balls and just freak out on acid. It's insanely convincing. So hats off to everybody in this movie, because everybody in this movie is just phenomenal. This is the first Gaspar Noé movie I've ever seen, and I mean, I've heard of other films he's made. You know, I first heard of him when I was in high school. At the time, I was very much like, what are the most extreme movies I could watch? And I was watching a lot of like really extreme movies, and I was sort of like dipping my toe into like French extremism, and so I watched things like High Tension and Martyrs, which I didn't care for those movies at all. I think they actually kind of suck. But then I started reading up on like Irreversible, and Irreversible is like this really horrible, fucked up movie. I mean, not horrible as in like, you know, like filmmaking wise, like it's actually like filmmaking wise, it's very well made, I'm sure. I haven't seen it because from what I've read, it seems to be so bleak and depressing and disturbing that I just told myself, I don't need to see that movie, thanks. So this is my first foray into watching a Gaspar Noé movie. And yeah, this movie's fucked, bro. This movie has a very specific visual style that I was really impressed with. At first, when the movie started, I was actually rather confused because the movie opens with the ending of the movie, but I think it might be deliberate. Like, I don't think they just took the ending and pasted it at the beginning. I feel like it was very deliberate that they started the beginning with the ending of the movie, and not just like, oh, they showed the ending at the beginning. No, they literally have like a title card that comes up. It's like, the film you just saw is based on real events that happened in 1996. And like, they have like the entire end credits, like, you know, thing that goes up. And I'm watching, I'm like, wait, why is the end of the movie here? I was very confused, but at the same time, I was very enthralled because artistically, it looked very cool. There's also lots of like really odd, like on-screen text that pops up every now and then with like messages about like the experiences of like life and death. I'm not necessarily sure what this movie is trying to say with these title cards, or what the message of the movie overall is. Maybe I'm just not smart enough to catch on to that after like a first viewing. But it was very interesting. And this movie really is a visual treat because there are extended single shot takes that go on for several minutes. And they are insanely complicated with so much chaos going on, like so much shit going on and so many people around and so many things happening. And and it's very impressive.
Before I continue, one thing I forgot to mention was the music in the movie, which is lots of like techno and dance music, which I personally really enjoy. I like that music, but there's a constant dance music pounding in the background, whether it's in the main dance hall or somewhere down a hallway. You're hearing it, and it's because it's so constant, and because it's very boom boom boom. It adds like to the chaos of the movie, especially in the second half. It's really well utilized.
The movie is also extremely colorful, which I really enjoy. I'm tired of seeing movies that are either really gray or really brown or of some combination of like teal and orange. I hate that shit. I really, unless it serves a purpose. But this movie has lots of color, which I really enjoy. And it just looks really good. This movie just looks phenomenal. This movie also makes really interesting creative decisions, like having an entire credit sequence for the music in the movie in the middle of the movie. Like literally at like 45 minutes, we get this like 2-minute long, really cool sequence of title cards of like music artists. And also like Gaspar Noé's name like 3 fucking times.
Correction. Upon a second watch, I realized that mid-movie title sequence isn't one for just the music, but rather just for the entire movie overall, and includes the names of the actors and the editors and the producers and all that. So I just thought that was really fucking cool.
He also manages to capture the dance choreography in this movie, which is also extremely fucking excellent, in really unique ways. Like there's an entire sequence that is shot from the ceiling looking down. Everyone's just dancing, and they're all just really good dancers, and it all just feels so like unplanned. Like it really does feel like they're just dancing for the hell of it, and he just decided to have a camera rolling. There's really deliberate filmmaking done with this camera and all of the creative decisions in this movie that make this movie stand out from honestly anything I've ever seen. This movie looks beautiful. It's shot beautifully. There's amazing extended takes. Like, this movie is just a visual treat. Like I said earlier, this movie is insanely scary and intense and frightening, and it's a goddamn nightmare when all of these people, this dance troupe, this dance group of people, just realize they're all fucked up on LSD. And they get more agitated and angry, and I mean, they were all horny to begin with too, so like you have to add that into the mix. There just becomes like problems that become like layered on like one on top of another on top of another that just cause this night of celebration for these people to just devolve into chaos. And it is the most heart-pounding 45 minutes of a movie I've ever seen. Like, my jaw dropped several times. I audibly gasped out loud and said, no, 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 because this movie was actively fucking me up. And I don't want to give anything away, because if you are going to watch the movie, if you haven't already, and you do want to watch this movie, like, it's really the best thing that you don't know what's going on in this movie, that you don't know what to expect, and you don't know the events that happen in the second half of this movie, because it is just so intense and scary, and there's so many different things that happen where it just makes you feel bad. Ugh, fuck. Getting away from the fucked up things about this movie, though, this movie does a lot of other really interesting things. Besides having really long, extended dance sequences, there's also some other really interesting sequences involving just like small character interactions. Like, there's a really long section of this movie in the beginning where we're cutting to 12 different conversations all happening at once, where it's just two people, and they're all at this party, they're all drinking and having fun, and they're just talking about the other dancers and life and things like that. And you get these really interesting, like, character stuff, you know, that do eventually lead to payoffs. Like, they do eventually pay off in really crazy ways.
Another thing I forgot to mention about that sequence is the fact that during this conversation, there's cuts to black in between each conversation, giving the impression that you're not capturing the entire conversation, but rather just, small moments, which I thought was really cool.
But we spend so much time just seeing these characters chat and getting to know them through very little pieces of information. Even if you have a hard time, like, remembering certain characters' names, because, like, this movie has 24 goddamn people in it. Even if you are having trouble remembering their names, you can still remember who they are by what their conversation was and what their end goal is in this thing, and what they're looking forward to, and what's going on in their life. And it does all sort of come into the fold in the second half when certain revelations are happening and certain things are being done, and you're just like, oh, wow. Like, this is definitely one of the best movies of 2019. I'm going to give Climax a 5 out of 5. Make sure you're ready to watch something fucked up when you watch this movie, because I wasn't prepared, and I was shocked at what this movie does. Thank you for watching this review. If you liked this video, please hit the like button. If you want to see more of my reviews, hit the subscribe button. I upload reviews on Mondays. You can find me on social media at The Shane Watson. Thanks for watching. See you later.